Welcome to another episode of the Meal Prep Monday podcast. I'm your host and founder of Prep Dish, Allison Schaaf. In today's episode, I am discussing 5 beverages that I am loving right now. Before we get into the content, I have an email to read from Prep Dish subscriber Anne. Anne writes, I just have to say that this is the most incredible service. I didn't like the meal prep services that send you the ingredients because then you have no control over the price of your food. With this, you can buy your ingredients anywhere. It has saved me so much time and energy with my family of 5. Total game changer for busy families wanting to cook more and eat healthy. Thank you. And thank you so much for sharing. If you are here listening to this podcast and you've not tried out our time-saving meal plans and you want to see if it is a, quote, total game changer, as Anne describes, we have a 2-week free trial. So you can go to prepdish.com/MPM, short for Meal Prep Monday. You can try it out, 14 days free. See how it works in your family. I hope you're able to give it a try. Okay, so for today's episode, this is one, when I looked back, I honestly thought I did it like last fall in 2024, but I went back and if I'm calculating correct, it looks like the last time I did this was November 2022. I did an episode of like 5 beverages I'm loving right now. And then back in 2020, I did some water alternatives. So I'll link those 2 episodes. The ones I'm going to discuss today, I think are mainly kind of all updates to those. So I thought it'd be fun. Yeah, I just last week had the number one that these are in random order, but the first one that I'm going to talk about. And I was like, I wonder if I should do an updated beverages episode. So here we are. So number 1 is hop water. This is something that I have seen floating around a lot, especially when I go into Austin. I notice there, it kind of seems to be like a thing, just like I noticed orange wine kind of a few years ago was like a big trend, still out there, but hop water is one that I've seen sort of everywhere. So what is hop water? It is, the versions I've seen at least, they're, non-alcoholic, but they're supposed to taste similar to beer. They use hop, which is one of the plants. I looked it up. It's actually, I guess, like a flower that gives beer sort of, hoppy beers. You've heard people describe beers as hoppy. So a lot of the flavorings and even that bitterness that beer can have comes from that. So this is sort of a non-alcoholic alternative to beer. So the one that I like, it's also carbonated and just kind of like a crisp, it's almost like a sparkling water. I like sparkling water with lime, but it's kind of got just a little more depth of flavor. So some that I've tried, I actually not sure. I was like, I'm not sure if I like this. It just tastes like a watery, I don't know, something. But the one that I had most recently, the brand was called Hop Water, but water does not have the vowels. So like WTR. They have a lot of different flavors. The only one I've had is blood orange. I really liked the blood orange. I will say, so they add adaptogens to it. And I'm always weary of beverages that add a lot of things, adaptogens or nootropics or something like that. Cause I like to, be intentional when I'm having any sort of supplements or adaptogens or anything like that. But this hop water, it's L-theanine and ashwagandha. Those are both supplements that I already take. I will say after I drink the hop water, I feel like it makes me a little sleepier. L-theanine is a supplement that I do take before bed. So when I have the hop water, I just don't take the L-theanine because that's something you want to look into and decide what's right for you. But hop water, blood orange flavor, really loving it. Feel like it's a kind of nice alternative to a beer at the end of the day, which leads me into number 2. My most recent favorite gluten-free beer is Holidaily brand. And I don't know. I didn't see that I've talked about this in a past episode, but I'm sure I must have. I think I discovered this kind of brand of beer maybe 2 years ago. They started carrying it at a local grocery store here in Texas. It's based out of Golden, Colorado. In the past, they kind of only had 2 flavors that I ever had. There's one that's very hoppy. I guess maybe that's a theme. But my husband and I both really enjoy these beers. I've been gluten-free for, I think, 11 years now, maybe 12. Maybe even more than that. I've been gluten-free for several years. Before going gluten-free, I would drink beers. And then, I sometimes would try the gluten-free versions and never really thought they came close to the real thing. These, I feel like, taste like what I'm used to. I could be biased because it's been several years since I've had the real thing, but these Holidays really like What I'm going to say for this one particular is they recently started carrying a stout, which was a new flavor that they weren't offering at least at my local grocery store in the past. And it's, sort of similar to a Guinness, but I like it because when I have one, it's kind of like so rich that it's not like a meal in itself, but like one is just very satisfying. Like one stout, and it's like, okay, I definitely like that's, good. I'm not like craving to have a second one or something, but the Holiday Stout flavor is kind of my new favorite beer flavor. Number 3. And so I went back and looked at some of the beverages I mentioned back in 2022. I mentioned teas in bulk. I still buy my teas in bulk. They're a lot more cost effective. I also find I can get higher quality. I don't like to drink teas out of the tea bags. Sometimes the tea bags themselves, can be treated with bleach or different chemicals. So I like to use a strainer and buy like tea leaves in bulk. I'm still using the brand that I've talked about in the past, which is Sipley. It's one of my girlfriends here in Austin. It's a small, locally run business, but she does a good job of really searching to find high quality teas, a lot of really good green teas, but she also has what are called pu'er teas. So it's like a black tea, but lower in caffeine. The one that I am loving right now is a Scottish caramel flavor. And it has the pu'er plus sliced almonds. And then there is some natural flavoring, which I will say I usually avoid any sort of quote unquote flavorings added to teas or really any beverage. I just try and look out for those flavorings because so much can fall under that, right? Like you can label something as a natural flavor when in reality, maybe it's not, not that natural. But with this tea, I'm okay with it. My friend and I've talked to her at length about her process and her vetting process and what she goes through. And like these natural flavorings actually are something that I'm okay with consuming. So yeah, Scottish caramel is one that, still kind of like, I consider it more of a treat where some of the green teas are like my everyday tea, but it's quite tasty. And then number 4, I'm going to keep this one the same as what I had back in 2022. And that's making an iced tea out of raspberry leaf tea. So I've never been a coffee drinker. I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine. With the tea, like either the pu'er or the green teas, I have to be careful. I've actually started drinking or adding in like matchas every now and then. And I find sometimes when I do the matcha, like my ordering will say that I'm stressed all day or it can impact my sleep, even if I have it in the morning. I just tend to be more sensitive to caffeine. So for iced tea, I love using raspberry leaf. That's another one. I buy it in bulk. I can get the tea leaves in bulk, organic raspberry leaf. And I will just brew kind of like a concentrate and then add water and then, can kind of drink it for the week. And now that it's starting to get warmer here, I love having some iced tea in the fridge. My mom used to always do that growing up. I wouldn't drink it, but I remember her drinking it. So it kind of feels, reminiscent of that. And so I've been enjoying having the raspberry leaf iced tea. It does taste to me more like a black tea, even though it is caffeine free. And then the last one. So last time, I think I mentioned a golden milk that I bought that's kind of like a powder that was pre-mixed. And I found that they have also I think it's just called like a beet latte that has, or it's maybe beet cacao. I was going to see if I could pull it up to have the ingredients. I don't, all the other ones pulled up. So it's and I'll link it in the show notes or put the name in the show notes, but it has beet powder, cacao. I think it also has some ginger. So really clean ingredient list. Now, the other thing I will say is the beet one, they also do add ashwagandha. So I don't know. I just like to be wary and be like knowing what I'm putting in my body and not, I'm having 3 beverages a day that have ashwagandha and then like also add it as a supplement. So I try and at least be aware and intentional when they are adding adaptogens like that. But yeah, that's one that I really enjoy. So that one I drink hot and I add like maybe some nut pods or some sort of milk and sometimes some honey as well. And that's really good. I kind of do like a hot latte. Yeah, the brand is SAKU. And that's the same brand that I like. They have a really good golden milk that I use and add hot water and kind of make a latte out of that as well. And those are nice. I buy them in bulk, like the bag off Amazon, and they last a long time. It's like you just need kind of like maybe like half a tablespoon or something to make one latte. And I'm not making those every day. Those are kind of like an afternoon drink for me, I suppose. So Okay, those are the beverages that I'm loving right now. Of course, there's always my staples, and I think I've mentioned these in days past. In the morning, I have lemon water and Tulsi tea. Those are kind of my start the day tea or beverages. And then Dry Farm Wines, of course, is my wine of choice. I've mentioned that in past episodes and might have some more episodes coming up on that specifically. Still trying to figure out the podcast lineup over the next few months, but I have some ideas for that you might hear more about coming up in the future. Okay, well, that is all I have for today. If you are a longtime listener of this podcast, if you have a friend that you think would enjoy it, if you could just do a quick screenshot and share it with them, I would love that. That just helps more people to find this podcast. Or if you know someone that would enjoy Prep Dish and you want to share that with them, I really appreciate that. That just helps, people. That's how we get the word out, is through all of you. And if you have not left the rating and review, that helps as well. So all of those things are helpful. And then a reminder that if you do want to try out our meal plans, those are always available for 14 days free at prepdish.com/MPM. It's a good way to give it a try, see if it's a fit, see if it can help save some time during dinners and mealtime at your family. So that's all I have for today. I will be back again next Monday with another episode.